It's Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined now by VolQuest's Austin Price, as we are joined by him every Tuesday here on the show. What's up, Austin? How are you?
Cold. We got a little wind up here in Greenville, and, we'll see kind of what Judge Corker has in mind. I don't know if we hear anything from him today, but I think you're definitely going to hear both sides present their case, and we'll see if Judge Corker decides to grant the injunction today or decides to rule on this in the coming days.
So as simple as I can make it, Austin, does a win today or the win in the next 2 weeks, however long it takes for Tennessee against the AA, mean that the NCAA will simply leave Tennessee alone with its investigation about NIL?
In theory, they could continue to push on if they wanted to, but I think there is a large theory that, even just with the judge's language when he decided not to grant the temporary restraining order last week, that, the NCAA could end up backing off here a little bit. I think, as we've talked about before, their record or recent record in court cases has not been too good. Now, again, this is not a trial. This is for an injunction, and if this thing actually gets to any kind of trial, or if there is a lawsuit from the university or Spire, I think that's probably more winnable than today is. And today, I think, is more of a coin flip. But as far as whether the judge is going to rule in favor of the state attorney general and grant the injunction, but either way, I think there's a lot of optimism on the Tennessee side of things as they head into today and then into whatever kind of the future holds.
Austin, what is the NCAA's strongest punch that they have going into this court session?
I'm not sure they have a huge, or a strong punch, so to speak. I think the biggest thing they're going to try to push is, all of these states, including Tennessee and Virginia, have had people on all of our committees. They've, been a part of, us making rules and regulations for X amount of years. Now, all of a sudden, because, they broke the rules or whatever, even though there really are no rules when it comes to NIL, they're trying to do an about face on this stuff. So, I think they're just going to try to present like, they've been with us this whole time. They're only conveniently against us now that, they need to be to help their case.
When it comes down to the questions that will be asked in court, do you simply ask them what took them so long to get to this point?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the main questions you'll hear asked today, Ramon. On both sides, why is it taking so long for both sides to get to this point? This is a situation where the NCAA let the toothpaste get back out of the tube. They've tried to put it back in the tube, and it's just not going. And I think you're going to see more and more of this. If it wasn't Tennessee, it was going to be somebody else that pushed back. It was going to be another state, another school, or whatever that pushes back against the NCAA. We see that more and more and more. And so, again, I think this was inevitable, whether it was Tennessee or somebody else.
Austin Price of VolQuest joined us this morning on RK Dub, talking some Tennessee football. So recently we heard Jerry Mack, a running backs coach for the Vols, headed to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you talked about some initial candidates. Who are some of the people that you're seeing pop up, and what's really the significance of this loss in terms of him as a coach?
Well, Jerry's a great football mind. He's been an OC, he's been a head coach, obviously was a running backs coach here, very smart. Yeah, the best thing I could say about Jerry Mack is he's a good human being, and he is so steady Eddie, even keel. Like on Saturdays when games can be so emotional and volatile, he never was too high, too low. Like he was just kind of, no matter what happened, touchdown, fumble, whatever, he was the same guy. And I think that's something you'll miss, when you look up and, you've got a guy who, no matter the situation, is either saying stay focused or, whatever. I think that, it's a loss, and it's the Jacksonville Jaguars gain. I think they're getting a really good football coach. So Tennessee will try to go out and see if they can fill it. And unlike the previous couple of hires, I do think this will be an outside hire by Josh Heupel. A lot of names on that hot board. Carlos Lachlan from Oregon has some ties to the state of Tennessee. Anthony Jones, same thing. There's a number of different candidates that have impressive resumes that I believe have interest in this job.
Austin Price of VolQuest, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Austin, Brian Jean-Marie rumored to be potentially interested in a job at his former employer at Michigan as they replace Jesse Minter and others on that staff. What's the latest on his situation with Tennessee, and could Tennessee look to promote from within to potentially replace him, or is it too early to say what their plan might be, considering he is still technically officially on staff?
Well, I think it's way too early. And I think Brian Jean-Marie's preference would be to remain on staff at Tennessee. I think the family's really comfortable in Knoxville. Michigan is trying to surround Sherron Moore with as good a staff as they can. Obviously, famed defensive coordinator Wink Martindale is their new DC at Michigan. And, I think that, they're trying to put a lot of pieces around Coach Moore to give him the best chance to be successful, and that starts with going out and getting someone who Sherron Moore really likes in BJ, and we'll see. As far as like if he did leave, I don't know. I don't know if there's a path to promotion from within. I don't think there's anybody like could they move Eckler to inside linebackers and promote like Coach Chop to Leo's? I guess it's possible. I still would probably call that unlikely, but I guess it is possible. And then, again, I think, you'll probably hear something on Coach BJ in the next, 24 to 48 hours or so. And, again, I think his preference is to be back on Rocky Top. But again, it always doesn't play out that way because
Sure.
schools, toss around a lot of money, and we'll kind of see where it goes.
Austin, on the way out, I know you've got to head into court here in just a minute. What do you think is the most likely outcome today? Is this a 2-week process in terms of Tennessee fighting this battle in courts, or do we get some kind of decision today?
Most likely, I think you don't hear anything from the judge today. He leaves the courtroom and goes back to kind of weigh kind of what he's heard. I could be wrong. Lord knows I'm not a deeply entrenched legal person, but based off my talks with several different people, most, and I would say probably 85 or 90% think that nothing will be decided today. And it's just it's kind of a chance for both sides to kind of make their case in person, vocally, not just in written.
He is Austin Price at Austin Priceless on Twitter outside the federal courthouse in Greenville. Austin, we appreciate the time on a busy day. Thank you.
Thanks, Austin.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There's Austin Price with us this morning. All the latest on Tennessee against the NCAA. What sticks out from what he had to say?
Nothing will come out today. I think that was super unique. This is just going to go through the proceedings, and they'll decide behind closed doors, and nothing to come out today. I think that's super unique. As Coach Mack like to say sometimes, keep your powder dry today.
Yeah, it's just a thing in terms of the court. It's always a process, right, in figuring out. And I'd rather them do it the right way and taking their time in terms of the judge to get it right than just having something tomorrow or later today. So I think just patience on this whole thing right now is the biggest thing. I guess as antsy as we are to want to know like what the answer is.